everybody, and thanks for joining me again. This is a great, beautiful evening, and I've got a super special friend. I know I say that all too often, but then there's those guys that you're like genuinely excited to share a screen with.
Oh.
Johnny Holland. Seriously.
How you doing, brother?
Dude, there's the day ones that you truly appreciate their character, they're good people, and Johnny, we just spent a whole night watching people beat their faces in watching UFC.
It was brutal.
It was brutal, and it was great. It was great.
Someone's on their way to the hospital right now.
Or a couple.
R.I.P. James Vick.
And we're sitting here in my bedroom just talking Joker. And they're on their way to the hospital. But hey, we had a great day. But okay, so the way the podcast is going to go today, I think we're going to just hit one major topic. And if time allows, we've got I don't know if you've ever seen the Reddit feed of Am I the Asshole? But we're going to determine who's the jerk in these situations. But the main topic for the day is the Joker. The Joker movie came out. Johnny, you saw the Joker movie, right?
I did. And not just the one in the mirror.
I shouldn't have laughed at that as much as I did. But, all right, let's kick it off with Johnny. Johnny, just give us your basic opinions. What did you think of the Joker movie?
It's exactly how I like my DC movies, to be completely honest. I love them dark. I love the darkness, the dark undertones of the DC universe. Like, come on.
Oh, wait, real quick. For this podcast, if you have not seen the Joker, just turn it off.
Or don't.
This is all spoilers. I'm throwing it out the window. This is a spoilers episode. Spoilers? We're talking the Joker movie. So watch it or don't. But now you've had your warning. Fair warning. All right, Johnny, please continue with your DC dark opinion.
Yeah. I'm sick of everybody complaining about the movie because, come on, it's a maniacal killer clown. What, did you think it was going to be like the Marvel Universe where everything's every other sentence is a joke? No, come on, man. He's going to be stabbing people in the neck. He's going to be...
But you know what you just reminded me of?
What?
When the It Chapter 2 movie came out, Did you see there was an article that was released on how the It clown is not tolerant to LGBTQ people? And somebody tweeted like, you know our society's being derailed when we're upset when the killer clown doesn't like LGBT. You know, it's like, guys, this is a villain. This is a killer clown. And we're upset that he doesn't like whoa.
He doesn't like anybody.
Exactly the point.
Oh, man. He stabbed the homosexual guy one extra time because he didn't like him.
But Johnny, I want to address your point. Your point of, this was exactly what I like of DC. Mm-hmm. But I want to take it one step further. So, when they're on the train, and the Joker makes his first kill, right? And that's the three guys. That was a good scene. And that was a pivotal point for the character evolution. Mm-hmm. But that was classic DC, right?
It was.
DC's differential from Marvel. They're not afraid to use guns. Mm-mm. They are known for having a legitimate handgun, not some alien space laser, but they incorporate guns into their story. So when I saw that was right on par with classic DC. The guy's got a handgun, revolver, bang, bang, bang. And there was some blood when they curled over. But dude,
there was a good bit
it
of blood.
Wasn't until okay.
He blew his brains all over the ceiling.
The next one I was gonna get to is then that guy, the third guy who gets killed, who's trying to leave. Ooh, okay, now that gets a little darker, right? We have our regular DC, and that got a little darker, where the guy's like cold blood on the stairs. He's just like, pow, puts him out of his misery.
What I really liked about that scene is after he was trying to run up the stairs and he got shot in the back and he was laying down, the way the Joker walked up to him, that was very Joker-esque. It was like really awkward and stiff and standing up straight. I was like, oh, these people know what they're doing.
Dude, so it was at that point you go, all right, so we have our Joker or DC expectation. Mm-hmm. All right, that was a little bit that you took it up a notch. But it wasn't until the big guy that gave the Joker the gun, that put him in this situation with the midget when they walked in the room, the big scene where the Joker kills the guy that set him up for failure. that scene was the point where I realized, oh, we've departed from all comic books we're used to, and we're taking it even farther. We took it and I'm not saying I disliked it. I love the fact, but you could tell we took that one step further of, okay, now we're even darker. And then it only got, like, and not to say it went, like, to the sick side of it, but it was like, we even took one step further with the final 20 minutes of the movie. And it was like, whoa, we took DC to a dark corner.
Yeah.
But a great theatric corner, I thought.
They weren't too nice to bootleg Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah.
I would have. Oh, darn, would I have been disappointed if that was Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, shucks. Yo, we were at lunch with my dad and my uncle today. We were all talking about how Joe Rogan's six-pack, you'll never catch it verbatim, the language, but he's always like, I have my history, and I wear it on my sleeve. I don't try to pretend. And I was on The Man Show with Jimmy Kimmel and the boys.
Oh, I know.
And he goes, you know who's it's going to bite him in the ass. And I'm sitting back waiting for it to bite him in the butt. Because this dude's the compass of moral, he's the moral police for everybody. But it's like, weren't you the one in blackface on The Man Show? Dude, you got to see the photos.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah,
What?
dude. And Sarah Silverman.
I know about Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, Sarah Silverman, you jerk. But man, Joe Loki
canceled. Oh no.
Yo, man, I was waiting, counting down the minutes for her to get
with
canceled.
Justin Trudeau.
Why isn't he canceled?
I don't know, because he's
the pretty boy mannequin.
Yeah, I guess so.
But hold on, we're getting derailed from the main show. Dude, the Joker. All right, so they take it a step further with the Jimmy Kimmel scene, popping De Niro in the Foss. Dude. Okay, so the main comment I want to make about the movie in general. So the movie swept all the awards. It goes to Sundance. It goes to all the film festivals. Sweeps the awards. Last stop, Toronto Film Festival. And it isn't until they stop in Toronto that now there's a media uproar. We're praising mentally ill people. This is a problem. So it isn't until we go to Canada. Yeah, exactly. It isn't until we go to Canada. So they swept all the awards, and it isn't until Canada goes, this movie praises mental health, that there's an uproar. But what's funny is when I watched that movie, I felt the exact opposite. When I think of a movie that would do us dirty in praising mental illness, it would be a situation where, one, you make them out to be the hero, that you praise this characteristic, but two, what makes them what they are is... the one thing I appreciated about this movie, to better complete my thought, what I appreciated about this movie that I thought this media uproar missed was... what made the Joker bad, what broke him bad, right? We had the Breaking Bad movie that just came out. What broke the Joker bad was not just one event that made him snap, which is what we perceive naively to be the problem with these types of people. It was everyday shitty people being shitty to him. This is a guy struggling with his mental health, and on the daily, humanity let him down. And that's what I perceived the message to be. It wasn't, oh my God, everybody should be a school shooter. This is amazing. It's, you're the reason we have school shooters. You perpetuate this on the daily. You being a bad person to a stranger is what makes a stranger a bad person.
I think a really cool point in the movie that they hit with him finally snapping is that you know at the start of the movie when he was getting the hell beat out of him by those kids. Yeah. It started the exact same way with him getting beat up by those rich kids. And that's when he started shooting. He had the means to do something about it. Finally, he had the power in his hands to make the whole world around him hurt. The same way they hurt him.
But it was consistent.
Yeah.
It was a consistent, everyday fight of, and again... if you want to psychoanalyze the movie, you have all these other clowns that seem to not have the same life struggle as this guy. You know, who's my favorite? One of my favorite comedians was in it. Who's on The Fighter and the Kid with Brendan Schaub?
Brian Callen.
Brian Callen. Did you know he was in that movie? Dude, they don't even show his face.
Really?
So low key on Fighter and the Kid, he goes, "Yeah, I mean, I was in that movie," and I was like, "Oh, I was upset because I thought it spoiled it for me." I was like, "Oh, I wanted to. If I knew that, I was hoping it would be a surprise." Mm-hmm. But if you remember the last scene when he got fired from being a clown because he brought the gun to the hospital, and
that was a good scene.
Oh, that was funny. And he was like, "It's just a prop. It's just a prop."
He went,
dude,
in the cancer ward for kids, for children. See, The Darkness of DC. That was dark comedy. That was really funny.
But so he goes to check out from the clown locker room for the last time, and they're all like, "What are you doing taking a gun to a hospital, man?" And then he makes a comment to the big guy that gave him the gun. He was like, "Yeah, where would I get that gun?" I can't remember what he said. It was something. He made a comment to the big guy. And there's one clown with his back to the screen the whole time looking in a mirror. You never see his face until literally the last line he goes like this, and it's Brian Callen. The voice you could tell, but it isn't until he goes like this. You're like, "Oh my God." So he was one of the clowns.
So just missed it.
Dude, it was very small of a part. That's why I was like, "You're Brian Callen. What are you doing?" But and anyway, the reason I brought all of that up was even that scene, you could just tell he can't escape this whatever this dark cloud is. It's everywhere. And again, maybe that's just the message is people are weird. We're all weird. Because you can assimilate your weirdness to fit and not trigger people. Doesn't mean we don't have our weird corners of our character. This guy was weird, sure. But he couldn't escape it. Yeah,
I want to hit on that point, the dark cloud that was everywhere. Everybody in this situation wanted to blame Thomas Wayne and the rest of the rich, and that, of course, Thomas Wayne was an asshole in the movie.
Right.
He was saying bad things about everybody for them. "Oh, you're just mad because you're not as successful as I am." But you see, the way he hurt the people directly below him, it trickled down. Because remember how poorly the Joker's psychologist was treating him. He was saying, "All I have are dark thoughts," and she wasn't listening at all.
At all.
Then she says, "This is the last time we're going to see each other. These people don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about me." And it seems like she's only focusing on herself.
Yeah, that whole conversation.
Yeah.
And even that last conversation was a huge sign of SOS. I can't emphasize. I get it. This is it. This is the end of the road. We're never going to do this again. But at the last conversation we have, I need to emphasize how much I need this. And she still turns her back on him. Oh, yeah. But honestly, in all of this conversation, that last scene where he climbs up on that car and paints the smile of blood on his face.
That hammered it home.
Dude, the chills. The chills. So, okay, we always have the talk, who's the best Joker? Because obviously this is one of the best theatrical characters of all time. So that's why we get to have this conversation, right? Nobody cares about who was the best Hulk of all time. This is a character that will forever go down in cinema history, all throughout, all the different genres. When you have that conversation, obviously the argument is still Heath Ledger takes the cake.
Yeah.
But
I grew up on Mark Hamill, so he'll always have a special place in my heart.
I think Mark Hamill will always have the voice. If you close your eyes, there's no laugh that cackles like a Joker more than Mark Hamill. I totally agree.
Well, this guy really got the laugh down. That was one of the best Joker laughs I've ever heard.
It was real. Yeah. What it was is okay, what you had with Mark Hamill your entire childhood was a cartoon. That was a cartoon laugh. SpongeBob's a cartoon laugh. This was a real psychotic laugh of a person. That was awesome. But the only thing I wanted to draw on was, I think, Heath Ledger, I walked away thinking Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, yeah.
Yes, it was just amazing. I thought that was just amazing acting. But then I heard Barstool Sports, there was this little 2-minute snippet on why they thought Heath Ledger was still the best Joker. And it kind of convinced me because the things they drew upon was his posture, the little things of the way he waved around a gun, or when he takes a champagne, throws it over his shoulder, and then takes a drink of it. That was Joker stuff.
Or the scene at the hospital was going to blow it up, and he keeps slamming on the button.
Yes!
That was a very Joker.
Or they draw on a little thing that only, the huge nerds pick up on. I didn't even notice it. When he takes the gun in Harvey Dent's hand and puts it to his head, and he's like, I don't plan anything. I'm not in control. Pull the trigger. And he's trying to convince him to pull the trigger. The whole time, he's got the hand on the hammer. And even if he pulled the trigger, he wouldn't have been able to do it. So he let him think the whole time he had the power. Kill me, kill me. And low-key, only if you're paying close attention do you pick up on his hands on the hammer. He would never have pulled it. So those little things... I get it. That's unbeatable. Yeah. But the only thing that hurts Heath Ledger in this conversation is the man had one and only one performance. And that movie ended leading us into another Joker performance. Had he still been alive, we would have had another. Mm-hmm. And again, that would have hammered it home. It would have been unbeatable. But where I'm sitting today, I think if you get this Joaquin Phoenix Joker one more time, it's unbeatable. Unbeatable. Where you left off, it only makes you want more, and done right, that could easily steal the show.
Do you think it's going to a sequel, or are they going to include him in something else?
Well, okay, so we have the Harley Quinn movie coming out.
Well, that's a whole different Joker, though. They have Jared Leto. That
is
was
he?
awful.
But I don't know if he's going to still be the Joker in that movie.
They can't just pretend it didn't happen.
The only weird thing is, dude, the way the Hollywood contracts are, he's signed for nothing. They've dropped him like a hot potato. So they may be just completely starting over. And how do you do this Harley Quinn movie without a Joker, right? He may not be in this movie, but there has to be some acknowledgement of his existence somewhere. Maybe after this movie, who knows? But I was doing some reading, and it seems like we will have another performance by him as the Joker. In which case, I think that hammers it home.
Good. Let it be rated R too.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be, right?
Let it be dark and twisted and demented, just like this movie.
Or look at Deadpool, right? We finally had a Marvel movie that took it to where these movies were supposed to go. These movies are not supposed to be made for 11-year-olds, right? They were cute. We all read the comics when we were 11. The movies aren't made for you when you're 11.
The thing about Deadpool's supposed to be a joke.
Yeah.
The DC Universe is, and you see...
You're right,
Did you see Justice League? They were making jokes every 2 seconds.
Yeah, well, because they were trying to play Marvel. Exactly, the Disney crap. They were trying to play this Marvel, everybody loves Marvel because it makes them laugh and it's fun. But again, tell me a Marvel movie. I loved Infinity War.
Oh, it was amazing.
That was about it.
The movies are great.
That last Avengers definitely didn't do it for me.
Really?
But they're good movies.
You didn't like
Endgame?
Endgame.
Dude, I thought... Okay, so where we left off with Infinity War, right, was they left all these ends untied. Spider-Man, gone. Iron Man, drifting off into space. And the way they left all of these characters, Captain Marvel, the way that the ends were left open, you're watching all these trailers for a year in anticipation, how are they going to get on? Ant-Man, lost in the quantum realm. How are we going to get these people back to save the world? Within the first 10 minutes, Captain Marvel goes and catches Iron Man, brings him back. A rat brings Ant-Man out of the quantum realm. All of these things, it was just all these ends that I thought were going to be really hard to tie back together to move on was just done with. And I was like, ugh.
And let's not forget the biggest cliche of all in storytelling, time travel. Yes. And I'm sorry, I'm watching that movie, and it felt like they were fighting over the same stone half the time. It was wait, why are we
these are 3 different periods, and you're all fighting over the Orange Stone.
And they straight up murdered Black Widow.
Yeah!
They murdered her, son.
Murder!
They knew exactly what was going to happen when they sent both of them there.
But you know what? I was going to be disappointed, but then I got to see all the women superheroes come together and fight, and then I was like, all right, this is the greatest movie of all time.
For that one golden scene.
Yeah, right? Like, Iron Man's wife has never done anything in her life, and then here I am,
I
Iron
didn't know
Woman.
who she was. Listen, I thought the scene was still pretty cool. Definitely badass. But it's clear that they're shoving it down our throats.
Yeah, dude, that was
like that.
So spoon-fed, like, so far from organic. It was like, oh, how do I fit the square block through the triangle hole? Like, ugh, it was forced. That was really forced.
Mm-hmm.
But
I already thought they were all badass.
Right! Yo, I'm sorry. Like, again, I want to come back to, we have a point where Thor is sitting here, Thanos sitting there, we finally found him. Thor just hacks his head off. Like, what? Wait, that was it. My point was, here's Thanos, the most powerful person in the world, or in existence. He just killed half of all of humanity, or the universe. And then Captain Marvel comes out of nowhere, just puts him in a headlock, and it's over. It was like, wait, that was the big fight? Like, Infinity War ends, you're like, oh my god, how are they going to stop this guy? How do they stop him? Captain Marvel, the Queen, just comes in, puts him in a headlock, it's over. You're like, wait, that was the fight? And then, I'm sorry, even the big grand fight at the end wasn't that grand. It was awesome seeing Captain America with the hammer. That was the coolest thing ever. But, aside from that, dude, do you remember from, I can't remember, like, the Avengers 3 or whatever the title, one of the Avengers, when, Ultron, it was Age of Ultron, where Thor, they're all drinking, they're all having a good time, and the drinking game is who can pick up Thor's hammer. And everybody's like, nobody can move it. Yeah. And then Captain America comes up and he's like, and just moves it just the tiniest bit in Thor's face. Like, just like, what? How'd you do that? And then like, oh, yeah, you can't do it. So, like, that was a little bit of foreshadowing. I loved watching just Captain America throwing the hand. Like, that was the best part. Other than that, I wasn't thrilled. But, again, flipping back over to DC, though, that's why I bring it up. It's like, you feel something.
They have two good movies. They have Wonder Woman and the Joker.
I will say Wonder Woman was really good.
Very, very good.
But again, I think DC first needs to recognize they're not going to be a movie cinema machine like Disney. Disney is making crap with some gold, like diamonds in the turds, right? Like, they're just pumping it out, making
Disney money.
That's it. Disney money. Making billions on billions for every movie. DC needs to recognize they don't have the volume, the capital, or the ability to do that. So they can't try to do that. We're like, yeah, we'll make a couple turds with some diamonds. Before that period, where they tried being Marvel, that is where we had these old DC movies. I'm sorry, the old Superman, like not the ones from the 60s, the one from 2000, that was awesome. I'm sorry the Man of Steel didn't get the hype it was supposed to, because I thought that was a great movie. And then we have the Batman trilogy. That is unbeatable. That is that's cinema
that was good.
Gold.
That was really good. Wasn't a fan of the Bane one. But
yeah, I will say that one definitely was. But again, that being the least best of the three goes to show how great those three movies are. I mean, Batman Begins was dry at first for me as a kid, but then, man, did I grow to love that. Just like the way they were able to cultivate just a samurai Batman. Like, like how Batman's supposed to be.
Having him train with Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul! Yeah. And I kind of thought it was interesting what they did with Ra's al Ghul. Or, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of... Have you ever seen Arrow?
No, I didn't watch Arrow or The Flash. That CW...
Yes.
Those CW series. They look... The way that... CG is really bad.
It is.
I'm sorry.
It is.
I don't want to watch it.
You're right. Okay, I will say The Arrow was some of the greatest television I saw until later seasons, and you could tell they were just trying to keep a dead fire alive.
Really?
Just like on charcoals. So, again, I dropped off, so it may have gotten better. Flash ended up being the same thing for me. They brought in all these different multi-universes, and that's when it was just like, this is it. Again, I had friends that I was watching it with that they still continue. They love it. But the only reason I brought it up was the Arrow's interpretation of Ra's al Ghul was like the worst injustice ever. Like, it was just so... I liked the familial relationship between Ra's al Ghul and his daughter with Arrow. Like, that was an interesting thing. But Ra's al Ghul was so not Liam Neeson, right? And didn't Liam Neeson die and then turn out not to be Ra's al Ghul? What was the weird thing? I'm trying to remember with Batman Begins. Oh, no. Liam Neeson takes Batman to somebody that's supposed to be Ra's al Ghul. Batman, or somehow that guy gets killed. I can't remember. Damn, I need to go back and watch Batman Begins.
Yeah, it's been...
And then it turns out that he's the Ra's al Ghul.
We were little kids when that movie came out.
Dude, we were little kids.
Yeah.
Like great. Like, I was not even in high school. When did that come out? Let's find out.
I remember being a little boy.
Yeah, Batman Begins.
Not that I haven't maintained my youth.
2005.
Wow.
2005, dude. 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so don't get upset when I can't remember who killed who and how Ra's al Ghul.
They'll be all right.
But what do I do remember? It was a damn great movie.
Yeah, it was.
And I'm sorry, The Dark Knight is still, like, untouchable.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, let's take the conversation there, Johnny.
Okay.
So we've got the Joker movie, and we've got The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight, the classic of classics. What's the better movie?
Dark Knight versus Joker?
Yeah.
Dark Knight.
I agree. I agree. So, again, when we're comparing Jokers and stories, is that movie better because it had two hitters? It had the Joker and Batman. Well, okay, not only did it have a great Joker,
Two-Face.
It had the best Batman, and then it also had Harvey Dent, Two-Face, which was incredible.
Was there a third bad guy in there? Or was it just Harvey Dent?
Well, they had Catwoman. Catwoman was playing in the background.
I think one of the best parts about that movie was that it was a game of cat and mouse the whole time. It's like you Joker setting up different trials for Batman to get through. Sort of Riddler-esque. And yeah.
But also very Joker-esque.
Yeah.
Like, yo, we've got your girlfriend and we've got Harvey Dent, and you're not going to be able to pick them both. Pick.
Yeah.
Like, that's the classic Joker. Pick between the two. And I also... It was all riddled with philosophical, just... I don't know.
What's the more virtuous path?
Right. The two ships, right? You have the prisoner ship, you have the just regular citizen ship, and they both have a bomb to the other boat. Like, that was a crazy concept. You know, and the fact that the prisoners, you know, they're having this moral dilemma of like, screw them, blow them up, you know, like, and then the other guys are like, no, we deserve this, and they haven't blown us up yet, so we need to, like, man, the tension in that scene was, so I will say, I don't think the Joker movie ever got me to that point of, like, just emotional stimulation, just total captivation. But, again, to my point about Joaquin Phoenix, it definitely feels like if this set up the cat and mouse game movie that's going to come,
oh yeah,
then this could easily take the cake.
They got to fast forward like 25 years because Bruce is a little boy.
But there was somebody, I went with a couple friends, and even they were emphasizing that was right on par with that. You ever seen Gotham?
I saw the few episodes of the first season.
I think that they did a really great job with that show, but Batman and the Joker are like the same age. If not Batman, if you want to play it out right, might even be like a year or two older. So somebody was emphasizing to me after this Joker movie how they appreciated how this is the appropriate age distance between the real Joker and Batman, and that the Joker is supposed to be 15, 20 years older.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if that's the case, again, I don't know that, but if that's the case, then that makes sense. That seems about right on. But
how old is Joaquin Phoenix? He is.
Yeah,
I remember him playing the Emperor in Gladiator, and that came out before I was born.
Good point, dude.
He's got to be in his 50s. So is Batman going to be chasing him in a walker? Or who knows, man? He's going to call Life Alert to whisk him away.
He's 44.
Oh, wow. He must have been young when he played that role.
Let's see when The Gladiator came out.
Probably mid-2000s.
Okay, no, that ain't it.
I want to say 2000. 2000.
2000.
There we go.
So that's 20 years old. So he was 24 when he did it.
Wow. Probably got paid bank for that. That was a big
Wow,
role.
man. Could you imagine being 24 years old and it being in one of, the greatest movies of all time? Oh, my gosh.
And being an asshole in one of the greatest movies.
Yeah. Yo, so 44, I mean, that's the appropriate age, right?
At least we can't expect him to die soon. Unless he pulls
Hey, dude, hold on. Now I need to know. How old was Heath Ledger? 28.
28, damn.
Wow. So, to your point, at least we can't expect him to die. This guy was 28.
I hope this doesn't start like a Joker curse for anybody who plays a Joker.
Seriously,
dies.
though.
Yeah.
Except for Jack Nicklaus, because, he ain't going anywhere. But how interesting... Did Heath Ledger, what did he die from? Overdose?
I have no idea. I thought
Or
he
was
killed
it
himself.
suicide?
Yeah, I thought he killed himself.
Let me find out. Which is the same thing. Drug overdose at the end of the day is... Boom. Cardiac arrest. So, drug overdose.
Oh, okay. Get lit.
Hey, man. Dude, they were... I mean, do you remember the video? So, that period of time, it was a month before the movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
He dies, or a month before the movie's done on production. And he passes away. And I remember the news having, videos and clips of him in his hotel room or whatever. He put himself in a terrible apartment, a motel, dingy area, and he had makeup and stuff all over the mirrors. You could tell this dude lost his marbles. And and then to throw drugs on top of it, it's that's only gonna...
He was gone, dude. He was very dedicated to that role. I wonder if that is the actual reason.
Well, so they do. They definitely owe it to... The media has definitely posed it as it was the role that caused them to go crazy.
The media posted a lot of things.
Right, exactly. And it's never... you can never go by that.
What makes the better story?
And that's what you hear, is what makes the better story, which is unfortunate. But that's the other thing, ironically, Johnny, as I was reading another article that was talking about how the Joker release had all the theater shootings the media didn't want. AKA, there were no shootings, and that's what upset the media. And there's probably some legitimacy to that, dude, because up until this movie, all I heard was, what if there's copycats? What if there's copycats? We don't know. It may not be safe. I went the night it came out, without any concern.
They even had a cop in the theater with us when I went. Yeah,
Really?
Just standing in the corner, waiting for some dude to pull a 100-round magazine out of his head.
But how crazy is that? What's funny is I was here in Harrisburg, in the middle of nowhere, and they were like, hey, you're at your own risk. You're in the corns, man. If you go down, you go down. Ain't nobody gonna miss you. That's because there were no cops. Now that you pointed that out, that parking lot was full. There were no cops in the parking lot. We did not have... Man... But you know what's funny is I'm thinking back to the theaters at home, and it doesn't matter if it's a special event or not. There's cops everywhere. So now I'm wondering, like, what's going on over here?
At Harrisburg?
Yeah. That there's no cop. Like, they were like, hey, I mean, there was nobody really even there except for just the Joker showing was packed. There's no one ever over there. But how interesting. You had
Harrisburg has some problems.
That's true. That's why they were like, hey, fend for yourself. Yeah. But
not that you needed cops at the movie theater anyway.
Right. But you even just said you had cops and he didn't change or add anything to the experience.
You probably like the movie too.
Yeah. Dude, can you imagine getting paid to watch the Joker?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Man. Heaven. But yeah, man, you had the media hyping it up like you're going to have all of these shootings. We didn't have one. So how much of this is perpetuated by them? School shootings, all of these types of horrific catastrophes that are happening all the time. It's like, how much of them are perpetuated by you guys anymore?
And they target which ones. It seems like, I'm not going to make a conclusive statement, but it just seems like they target ones that fit their narrative the most.
You're right, though.
Yeah. I remember down in Maryland last year, there was a shooting in a high school. A kid ran up into the school with a shotgun and started firing at students, and a warranty officer came through and killed him before he was able to kill anybody. And it wasn't an AR-15. And a good guy with a gun killed him. So
where does that leave us?
Yeah, that leaves us with nothing productive for them.
Exactly. Bingo. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And there's also been incidents such as there was, right after the Walmart shooting in Texas, up in Oregon, there was a mass shooting at another Walmart, and the guy with concealed carry killed him.
And we don't hear about it.
And
isn't that convenient?
At a church down in Texas a couple years ago, there was a mass shooting, and some country folk pulled up in a car, and they pulled up in a truck. They had rifles on them, and they started shooting at this mass shooter, and he ran off. They started chasing him, and they shot him dead. Yeah.
So again, what prevails? Who knows? Again, no conclusive statements here, but
don't trust me to make policy.
Yeah. Hey, exactly. We're not. That's not. We are not here to create policy. We are here to talk about good movies we saw.
Mm-hmm. The one that doesn't cause shootings.
Exactly. Amen to that. This is, again, I think what's the most valuable part about this movie is that it gets to start conversations like these. Yeah. And these are the conversations that need to be had. Mental health conversations. Conversations that really get to the root of the issue.
You know what I thought about the other day?
What's that?
You remember, like, in high school when Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was out?
Dude, the amount of times this has been talked about on this frickin' podcast is nuts.
We all went up into an airport in that video game without flinching and just mowed down 1,000 people.
Yo.
All of us.
All the viewers, all of us as children shot up an airport in a video game. And I know there's probably females that are fans of the show that watch this and are like, I never played Call of Duty. I'm not a sicko. All you boys are sickos. One, you're probably right. But two, it's irrefutable. I can tell you if you had an Xbox, this was in it and you played it.
And even that didn't even cause a mass shooting. Us literally simulating a mass shooting didn't cause a mass shooting. And let's not forget about Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, dude, since we were born.
That's all you do.
Is pull people out of cars, pop them in the head, take their car.
And that doesn't cause mass shootings.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. When you were at your most malleable, juvenile, and impressionable, did you ever... I can say for a fact in Grand Theft Auto, I never played a single mission. My day was log into Grand Theft Auto and just... kill random, like, lady walking her dog down the street. Oh, I'm in my car. And I'm like 10. And that was just, I was getting and I'm laughing just like, So it's like, at what point is it like, and that didn't affect, at no point am I going, oh, you know that thing that I use for hunting in my free time? Boy, would I like to take that to the movies. Like, that never had an impression on me. But... That was in my life at my most impressionable.
And none of us blinked.
None of us.
We didn't even have so much as a conversation. I think there was a conversation about Grand Theft Auto, like, on the news and stuff. Like, this is bad news. But obviously it was proven wrong that video games don't increase the likelihood that someone will engage in violence.
Correct.
But I don't know. It's just weird.
Think about Columbine, dude. Columbine is the first big tip of the iceberg when it comes to this epidemic that's hit us. That was the real tip of the spear. And
during the federal assault weapons ban, that's when Columbine happened.
Bingo!
And Virginia Tech.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So when we weren't even allowed to have them, they were being used by bad guys? Is that what you're telling me? Bad guys were still using them against the law? 2
of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history.
Boom. Still, to this day. Even though it's happening every other day, still some of the worst. And they were having... So the bad guys did it even though it was illegal. Dang. I didn't see that coming. But it was interesting when Columbine came out. All these you would be amazed at the amount of actual scientific experiments that were, analysis, trying to prove that these guys' obsession with Doom, the game Doom, which is a pretty gory game, it's known for what it is, their obsession with this game is what made them what they are. And there has been a complete inability. The shooters, the 2 guys, were like, they made videos, right, of like, and in their videos with their guns and stuff, they would always talk about the game Doom. So that's what they were like, these guys, their obsession with Doom is what, but there's been so much science in the game Doom, but there's been nothing to show that the game Doom has done anything to provoke anybody to commit any act. And it was this game that we focused on, and we couldn't find anything.
So did they ever come up with a real reason why they committed the shooting?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's always going to be speculation. Most of it came down to mental health. But what stinks is mental health is just a sick Band-Aid we use to cover the unknown. Like, it's something we don't know. Something's wrong with his brain. Mental health. It's just something we just slap on because... when I was in philosophy in college... One of the craziest things that you'll never be able to know what it's like. Our brain will never be able to comprehend a billion or a million. We just don't know what it's like to have one or to have a million ones. Like we can't comprehend how much that is. A billion is even more removed. Keeping that in mind, we cannot conceptualize what nothing is. So if I said nothing is outside that window, it's now something, which makes it not nothing, and then we cannot discuss it. So nothing is something so far removed from something we can comprehend that we really don't know what nothing is. The only reason I go on this whole escapade on what nothing is I think mental health where we are at right now is so juvenile that it's pretty much nothing. We know it's this thing. I can say this cup is nothing, but I don't know what it is. And that's what I think we're dealing with is we have this thing, a Band-Aid, we slap mental health, but we have no clue what is going on in the inner workings of the human brain that creates these types of, uncontrollable triggers.
And how we approach the profession of psychology so much, it changes so often. So our entire understanding of that, it's hard to grasp unless you're in depth studying it on a daily basis.
And even then, it's tough for them to comprehend because there's so many levels to it. I think what it is when it comes to mentality, right? Just like what's going on in your head, there's so many things going on. The chemistry, literally your diet, your lack of physical activity, anything can already upset the balance of the chemicals in your head. That's a problem. Then we throw on top of it genetics. You've got somebody who literally just doesn't have their brain, the DNA that created this thing in the mother's womb, the blueprint already set it off astray. Again, we don't know what that blueprint is or what all the different blueprints could be or what they mean, but we already know there's a DNA, backbone to this that we don't even understand. And then on top of it, you have all of the environmental things that could affect this situation. Your dad beat you. You weren't loved. You were stuck in a, closet for, you're Harry Potter and you're stuck under the staircase for 5 years. Like, there's so many levels to this. I mean, I have a little mild fear of big dogs because when I was in kindergarten, I was walking to the bus stop. This Dalmatian jumped the electric fence, pounced on me, and was on top of me, and my neighbor had to come run out and pull it off of me.
Did it hurt you?
No, but dude, I'm 4 or 5, 6 years old. This thing's like just drooling into my face, and I'm like, ah! I mean, that was petrifying. Again, I am conscious enough to recognize that I have an irrational fear of big dogs because of this situation, and I love dogs. I love dogs to such a degree that I can get past it. But this is something that affects me, and that's something, one, that happened for 3 seconds on a Saturday when I was 6. And I'm 26 now, right? So here I am 20 years later, and it's still something that's in my backpack. Well, how many other things did you pick up in that backpack along the way? So there's these are 3 major sectors affecting your mentality, and even those 3 individual sectors have layers like a Shrek onion that could go on forever, right? So it sucks that there's nothing we could do but just go mental health. But what else can we do, right? Like we are at the juvenile stages of something that's a quagmire.
Yeah. And no one has answers.
No one has answers.
No one.
But that's the thing I think the answer to where we're at right now, Johnny, is the fact that the answer is none of us have answers. So you sitting there saying you need to take my gun, or you telling me I'm not allowed to see the Joker movie, yeah, that isn't the answer because none of us have the answer. So you pretending you have that answer is also wrong, right? Just as wrong as me being allowed to watch the Joker.
And often we hear the argument against that is, well, we need to do something. What if that something is the wrong thing? Then you've just made the situation worse.
And how would we know that? That's the unfortunate part is, what if the one thing you want to fix it with is worse? Again, and see, this is admin law. My biggest gripe with the government is everything is reactionary. It's, we want to say, we're doing this for the reason of this policy. But we don't know if it's going to reach that policy, and we don't know if it's going to work, and really we're just trying to implement this to see if we can get what we want.
In the criminal justice field, we call those celebrated events. It's not celebrated, but it's just that something that's so big that everybody knows that, like worldwide, such as 9/11, that gave big enough push in Congress to pass legislation that totally violated our Fourth Amendment rights in the what's it called, the Patriot Act.
Yes.
Yeah. Giving them so much power.
Dude, the Patriot Act stole so much privacy from us.
It did.
And I don't know. Okay, so again, I don't know how much in this conversation we could really get into, but when it comes to the Patriot Act, there's some benefits to it. I don't think we get to see as much of it. You know, the terrorist that was going to blow something up and didn't, that you stopped, well, we don't see that. So how much of the protection and safety that occurred we didn't see, but also how much of it just totally missed the ball and didn't achieve what it wanted at all.
And the reason behind it possibly missing the ball and not achieving exactly what it wanted to would be the fact that we didn't take a step back to think about exactly what we need. We didn't engage in necessary research to see what the appropriate remedy would be. We needed something done now.
That's it.
Before something else, such as that celebrated act, happens again.
So coming back to bringing it full circle. So the media is the one telling us this is a bad movie. But low-key behind, hushes and whispers, behind closed doors, we all know that all of this is perpetuated on the daily by the media. The media goes, oh, are you mentally disturbed? Are you about to kill yourself? Are you on your way out? Would you like to be a celebrity on every person's television in everyone's living room and be a name that's never forgotten? Well, go ahead and shoot up your school before you take yourself out. And I think that is a message totally perpetuated by the media. These people get to become instant celebrities by no other virtue by taking lives of many. So again, to your point, I think this is something we could go, oh, this is created by you guys. But nothing's done about it. I think we all recognize at this point that this is what's creating it. and yet we still let them just keep the ball rolling. I don't know what to make of it, man. But again, this movie isn't causing any issues. No, they wanted it to, and it was
just a good movie. Yeah, movies where bad things happen can still be good movies.
Seriously, though,
some terrible things have happened in movies over the years.
What's interesting is because take a movie like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Have you ever watched that movie? Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's a movie about the Holocaust, or a boy that lived through the Holocaust, and at the end ends up being killed in the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. I think the only difference between that is able to give Hollywood virtue is that the main character is the person who's the victim of evil, right? It wasn't a movie about Hitler. It was a movie about somebody in a concentration camp who gets killed at the end. Mm-hmm. So maybe the blue soft liberals get to be comfortable with a movie like this when, yes, he's the bad guy, but it's still a Batman movie. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's it. Again, I'm trying to recognize what it is that they're upset about and how to fix it. Maybe, and I'm not saying give in to them. Again, I'm still making a Joker movie. I'm not going to bend over and fix it for you guys. Mm-hmm. But maybe the thing that needs to be done is it needs to be a movie about Batman, and that's when we get to enjoy the Joker. Right? Like, and I'm not saying in The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, like, man, you get to enjoy Hitler because, boy, we looked at that. Like, that's not my point at all.
So it has
your
to be
point was,
the guy wins.
Right. I think that's it. Because your point was, we've got plenty of sick movies out there. There's plenty of movies with rape and all kinds of, putrid, despicable events in them. But they're still redeemable. And I think they're redeemable because the main antagonist or protagonist, the person that we follow through the story that we appreciate, is the good guy. And in this movie, the person we're following is the bad guy. Mm-hmm. But again, I want to take this back to my point at the beginning of the show. I personally think that isn't the message here. The message here is the Joker is a good guy. You made him a bad guy. You're a shitty person. You're an evil human on the daily, perpetuating this to a stranger all the time. You're the reason this exists, not him.
That might be a good point you have there, because we like to think that there is some evil out there, like one singular point of evil, and we want to put all the blame for all the bad things that happen in the world on that one singular point of evil, and we never take a step back and look at ourselves. Maybe we've done something wrong.
Dude, okay, so I know you were saying you didn't watch Gotham. Mm-hmm. The thing that I loved about Gotham the most is the way they did the Joker. Mm-hmm. The Joker, have you ever watched the show Shameless?
I've watched one episode.
Okay, regardless. The brother in the show who's gay, his name's Liam. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember him as a redheaded kid. He plays the Joker in this Gotham. Huh. Now, I haven't caught up yet, so he's come back. So my statement isn't as relevant if you've watched it all. But the point I want to make was the way Gotham proposed the Joker, initially at least, for the first, half the series, or, first couple seasons, was the Joker wasn't a character. The Joker was an ideology. And this kid who had he had the smile, he had the laugh, he had the carny background, everything about him, it was leading you to believe, oh, this is the kid that's going to grow up to be the Joker. We're going to finally, because again, the Joker movie wasn't anywhere near our foresight, so we were finally going to see an origin story for the Joker. And then he gets killed. And you're like, whoa. But then he gets killed on TV, and it was a scene with, the Waynes, and it was this whole crazy scene where he infects society with this Joker mentality. And it wasn't a character was the Joker. It was this making chaos and making chaos for chaos's sake. Not for any other reason, but just to do it. And I think that this Joker movie brought that perspective of the Joker back to the forefront of it isn't as much of a person, an individual who's a bad person to the core, as much as it is an ideology that can be bred, created, or manifested in anybody.
I really like that point.
Dude, and that's what I loved about this movie. That's why I got so excited. That's why I want to talk about this, because we're being told we're not allowed to like this movie. We're not allowed to support this movie. But I think they're missing the message it's trying to create. The message that should be taken from this movie is you're the reason the Joker exists. You, because you're a jerk to the lady sitting on the bed. Like, you're a man. You're on the seat in the subway. Get up for the old lady, right? Like, have some character, have some dignity, and we're losing that as a society.
And Joaquin Phoenix says that in the movie. He says, right before he brains Jimmy Kimmel, he said everyone is awful, everyone's terrible, and there's no happiness in the world. And that was the point he was making. Everybody was just booing him down. No one wanted to listen. So he kills Jimmy Kimmel.
Yo, you know what's the other scene that really killed me? Is after he kills Jimmy Kimmel, and they're showing, like, the media outrage. Mm-hmm. Like, so now they do a zoom out of, like, 50 different screens and all the news on their take of it. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. One of the most common, if you look at all the screens, one of the scenes that they keep replaying that you didn't think was going to be relevant, or you definitely thought, like, you looked right through, was when he first comes out onto the stage and he does his little, and then he gives that big lady the hug and kisses her on the lips, and she goes like this, flutters her hands.
Me Too's her.
Me Too's are hardcore. Well, you know what's interesting is on most of those screens, that's the scene they showed. And the only... And I don't know why this stuck with me, but it stuck with me because I sat back and thought, if this was a real situation and you're literally living this through. So imagine you're watching Jay Leno. Mm-hmm. Here's some guy. He's not even famous. Jay Leno has celebrities on all the time. Here's some guy out of New York that he just picked up because he made fun of him last week. Joe Schmo comes onto the scene, and he's goofy. Why has he got a clown mask on? He's a stand-up comedian, and the last time we saw him, he didn't have a clown makeup on, and he's dancing, and then he kisses, some... I think he was a politician, so you're like, that's funny, because you don't think of him as a bad guy yet, right? Like, this is still somebody that's part of the show. He's friends with everybody. So you don't... Now imagine you're that lady... And now on every television, this guy that just blew Jimmy Kimmel's head is kissing you on every television. And you played it off like a ham, being silly because you thought it was cute. This guy, it's all like, ooh, and she's like, woo, while she's getting kissed. But it's like, man, I bet you that whole I don't know what to make of why that stood out to me, but it's like, could you imagine sitting there being that lady and, like, now every screen is you hamming it up with, the Chardon shooter or whatever, pick it. Like, the shooter, like, you were just kissing him 5 minutes beforehand. I don't know. That whole thing is just crazy. The whole thing. And it's all fun and games until he starts, like, I'm desperate to go see the movie again. Because, like, now you know what to look for. But I would really like to relive that conversation before he blows Jimmy Kimmel's head off. Yeah,
I think that was a really important part in the movie because it's the climax before the climax.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there were, again, foreshadowing and stuff was definitely given throughout that show, or the whole entire movie. But I don't know what it is about that scene, man. It's like, if you just picture Jay Leno and, I don't know, Kamala Harris is sitting next to some stranger. Like, does Kamala Harris come out the fool because she played the ham up with, like, she shouldn't. She didn't know this guy was about to do some of the most extreme stuff ever. But now it's on every television, and now, Mrs. Johnson's watching Kamala Harris make out with the shooter.
I took the scene a little bit different. I took it as, well... Let me explain my reasoning before I finish that point. I remember right after the fluttering, and he stops and sits down. She sits down. She's wearing this giant frown on her face. And the Jimmy Kimmel guy asks if she's okay. So I think they saw that as a negative while the crowd is cheering it on.
Right, yeah, good point. Great point.
But then they flip that after he kills him. to this is a very negative thing. I
That's
think
what stood
they
out to
want
me.
to further damage his character by saying, look, he's sexually assaulting this lady.
Dude, you're definitely better articulating my point than I am.
Yeah.
You're definitely better because that was it. Thank you. That is the point I was trying to draw. Is they took a scene that they played off as fun until they found out this guy was a bad guy, and now it's like, oh no, but me too. This is a terrible situation. Thank you. That is definitely what I was trying to articulate.
Like Joe Biden sniffing people.
Yeah, exactly. We love him. Look at this guy. He's cute. He loves ice cream. I love ice cream. He loves ice cream. But boy, I'm gonna look away when he's sniffing that little girl's hair. Like, dude.
He's Obama's bro.
Yeah, exactly. Until Obama's like, I got nothing to say on this. We're done. My job's over. You know, you're never gonna get Obama to talk on Biden. You're never gonna get him in that corner. He's always like, that's not my cup of tea. I was only there from 2008 to 2016. That's not my job. It's just interesting. He will not touch that. But you're right, dude. That's a great point. It isn't, but that's what I want to draw on. You know, right now, if I've been talking to you right now and I've been hitting your shoulder, you know, just like, yeah, exactly. But like, think about it. Until you find out, what if you find out like tomorrow, oh, Gurgat's gay? I'm not cool with what, you know, like at that point you're like, now you're thinking of the night we had and you're like, wow, he was touching my shoulder. That's a little, like, you know, so at what point does it like, it flips only because of your perspective. The situation never changed. It was literally the same event. So, again, that should only emphasize how easy it is for the media to manipulate anything. Because you could find this microphone, I'm looking at it this angle, I see the E first, you're looking at it this angle, you see the B first, and if you're looking at it from this angle, you're seeing no letters, right? From this backside. So it's like, at what point are we... This microphone hasn't moved, it hasn't changed, it's in the same place, but we're all looking at it from different angles. So it's just interesting that the angle can change everything.
True. And how it's presented to us. If somebody shows you a painting and tells you how to interpret it a certain way, then you're probably going to interpret it that way first before thinking about it for yourself.
That's a super interesting... You're right. Take an illusion. If you go, hey, see the old lady... You know the classic illusion where it's like, here, let me pull it up because I'll put it up on the screen. But boom, classic. You've seen this, right? So if I looked at you and I said, you see the old lady? Mm-hmm. What do you see, an old lady?
Yeah, I see an old lady.
Now do you see the young girl? With her head turned?
With the feather.
She's got her feather out, turned the other way? Dude, and so it comes down to, if I go, hey, you see the old lady? And you go, yeah. And it isn't until you go, hey, you see the young girl? That you see the young girl. So you're 100% right. It definitely comes down to the interpreter telling you the way to interpret it. And I think that's the most dangerous part of where we're at today. You know, I've got people listening to me right now, and I could just pull facts out of my butt and say it in bold-faced confidence, and it's got to be taken as true, right? Like... That's the world we live in. And I'm a nobody with 20 people watching. Imagine being the source, CNN, with millions, if not billions, watching. Mm-hmm. The amount of influence you can have at that degree is severe and almost petrifying. And man, maybe they shouldn't have that much power. But what are you going to do? So, all right, Johnny, wrapping it up for you. I'm curious. Where do you leave off on this film?
I give it a solid 8 out of 10.
That's a great...
Johnny Holland approved.
Johnny Holland approved. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Johnny. So I would give it like maybe an 8.5 because a 9 is like too great. 10 is like the El Presidente from Barstool. You can never give it 10 because then there's nothing that can beat it. So maybe an 8.5 because I think it was really great. I think it was very what we needed right now in today's society at this time. Mm-hmm. And I also think it was very relevant and it was a great, well thought out story. Because again, we've never had a Joker origin. So we've had this infamous character for over 60 years and we've had no idea how he got this way or where he came from. So it was great to finally have something to kind of give us that.
Yeah.
But yeah, John, it's unfortunate. We were gonna do another segment, but we had way too much fun talking about the Joker. And poor Johnny's got to drive after this. My heart breaks for. Hey, I'll get it. Just throw in a podcast.
I'll nap at the bottom of the Susquehanna.
Dude,
I gotta cross that bridge.
Do not do that to me, man. Because the second you're at the bottom of the Susquehanna, now I got it on tape. Everybody's gonna hate me, and I'm gonna have guilt.
You'll be the next Logan Paul.
Yeah, hey guys.
But
let's go to the Suicide River.
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
But we'll cross under that bridge. Yo, Johnny, thank you for joining me on this great Joker conversation.
Of course, bro.
Guys, I appreciate you guys listening. Please don't forget, share, subscribe, like, on the Facebook page. Oh, we got a new Facebook page. Go check it out. And our Twitter handle. But Johnny, you're the best. And I can't wait. It was tough getting... Me and Johnny don't have classes anymore. So it's way too hard to get with Johnny. So it was great getting him on here.
I text like the young folk, though.
Yeah, that's true. What am I doing? I need to be able to reach out to you better, too. So, Johnny, again, you're my dude, and I appreciate it. Guys, till next time, thanks. Peace.